Greetings, blade fans. This old sword's back with you once again. And as promised, here is round 2 of Elite Production folders. Qualifications here are high-end materials, high-end design, and just a kind of a classy look, shall we say. They're certainly well above the budget level. And we're going to take a look at 5 more today. And probably there'll be another video with another 5 because I got a good number in this classification. So we're going to begin down at the lower right with a arcane knife. And let me do a full reveal. I didn't do that. There we go. There's all 5. And this is the Arcane Abyss. It is my one and only arcane knife. It is made by Riat. And it is an Israel Bacchus design. By the way, you want to know more about any of these, they each have their own individual review. Just do a lookup on my channel. You can search it. So, as with many Riat knives, including Riat's own knives and designs by other makers under the Riat label, we have exquisite grinds here, a complex grind. Call it kind of a trailing point, but not quite tanto. Complex grind. We've got a flat grind on the front like a tanto. We've got a hollow here. We've got that demarcation line that kind of makes these knives look so sexy. We've got some exquisite jimping here that's certainly going to hang onto your thumb, but is not going to abrade your thumb. It is not sharp, but it is cut in pretty well. We have titanium kind of add-on bolsters here. And by the way, you can get different bolster colors and materials from Arcane that you can customize your own knife with, which is kind of interesting. This one is a matte gray titanium handle with an M390 blade. He has been coming out with, Israel that is, has been coming out with many different designs in the years 2022 and 2023. Fantastic action on this knife. Is not what I would call drop shut. It is, however, on bearings, and this one hasn't been used or carried enough to really break it in. But a 3.5-inch blade, a little on the short side for my tastes, but I love the design so much that I went ahead and got it anyway. He has since come out with at least one larger model with a different blade shape. But just look how wicked that point is. It is a really unique design. Deep fuller in there, kind of like Microtech SOCOM Bravo has a very similar deep channeled fuller in there. And I just I hung on to the knife because I really do like it. Came in its own little pouch with a cutout for it and everything. The presentation really excellent on this. And I'm going to try not to spend too much time on these as we go through them, simply because I've got 5 to do. So I'm going to move on up to the Keto Telson. This is a really nice design, the Telson is. This particular flavor of it has zirconium inlays. And yeah, they're always going to be a fingerprint magnet when they're highly polished like that. Can't get around it. You touch it and you got fingerprints. Beautiful blue pivots around. M390 on this one, as far as I know and recall. Kind of a ventilated clip, titanium handle, of course. And kind of a clip point you could call a reverse tanto if you wanted to. Interesting fuller in here. It looks like a nail nick. But there we go. I was going to say I couldn't finger flick it, but dig your fingernail in there and you can. Nice run of jimping. Not real grabby, but definitely feels useful. I like that I can lay my thumb all the way onto the back of that. And the Telson was designed by, I'm going to have to look this up, sorry. Well, we're going to have to call it an in-house design. And if I am incorrect on that, please correct me if you know. There have been at least 2 other Ketuo knives that have been, or Ketuo, however you want to pronounce that, Keto, that have been designed by specific new designers. David is one of the fellows' names, and that may make it into one of the next rounds in this elite production folder group. But we're going to call this an in-house design for the time being. I don't see anybody's mark on it. It is very plain and unbillboarded, except for the M390 here and the name of the knife, the Telson. It is made by the Reich Knife Company, so kind of a division of Reich Knives. So really they are Reich Knives, but they developed this American division. It's headquartered out of New York somewhere near the city. At any rate, talking about the knife, it's a good feel and a good size. It's a little over 3.5 inches, like 3.55. Feels a little bigger than the Abyss for some reason, but that could just be my own perceptions. And look at all those fingerprints showing up on that zirconium. There are other versions of inlays that look equally attractive, but there you go. Ketuo Telson. I'm going to see if I can line these all up at the end, since I've got them sort of juxtaposed on the table here in different directions. Moving on to a Max Ace. This is the original Babylon. Another M390 and titanium, and it is a button lock. It is one of the smoothest button locks going. Has a interesting angled triangular shaped hole, but also these massive thumb stud towers, or whatever you want to call them. Both work great. So you can use the thumb stud, which I prefer. Certainly middle finger flick it all day long. Or you can simply drop it, a la gravity knife. Interesting, we'll call that a reverse tanto if you'd like, kind of a sharp clip point. Does have a nice belly, is extremely sharp with about 2/3 of the way up grind. Interesting double swale here on the top. You can fit your thumb in there. You can reach out a little bit here. You can even choke up just a little bit there. The subsequent version of the Babylon had a safety on here because these are very easy to close. And you don't have a lot of protection the way that blade swings. It's going to end up right on your finger. So if you're looking for a real secure knife that won't drop on your finger, this may not be the one, but if you want a fidgety knife, it is fidget crazy. And despite the fact that that button releases easily, it is locked up drum tight. Really beautiful knife. These are probably off the market and been replaced by the version 2 by Max Ace. Not sure if you can still get that version 2. You may want to check White Mountain. You may want to check Max Ace's website. There's your name, Babylon M390, made in 2021. So it's a couple years old at this point. And again, one of my favorites, most likely will stay in the collection. Moving to Benchmade. Haven't mentioned much about Benchmade or American knife companies, because so far these are made in China. In fact, all the rest of them are, either by Reich or by Max Ace, Reich or Max Ace so far, or Riot. This is a special edition designed by Warren Osborne, Benchmade Contigo. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the store that had this made for them by Benchmade. I want to say Knife Center, but it isn't Knife Center. It's Knife something, and I'm sure somebody will tell me because some of you guys out there have got one. It's a special edition of the Contigo with a variegated G10. They came in several different colors. Some were gray and blue, had the blue here, and I guess each handle was a little bit different, the way they were milled out and the colors that they used. Got your typical Contigo jimping all the way around like the original. Stainless backspacer. This is not titanium. Nope, that is stainless. So we have no titanium in the knife, but we do have an M390 blade, reverse tanto, with an interesting clip in here that Warren designed. Plenty of jimping here, no jimping on the blade. So if you need your jimping, you just stay back here. It's a hell of a handful. It's a full 4-inch blade. They put a shiny pocket clip on there that is transferable to the left side, lefties. Not available anymore to the best of my knowledge. You'll have to pick these up on the secondary market, as I did with this one, but it was in perfect condition. And I forget who I got it from. It was one of those pages where folks are selling used knives back a few years ago, and I hung on to it because I've got the black M4 edition of this, the user edition. This one is beautifully done in kind of a slightly polished, I don't know if I call it a stone wash, like a bead blast maybe. Double thumb studs. It's very smooth. You can open it with the thumb studs. You can open it certainly with the axis lock. Just a real interesting big knife. And again, if you know who commissioned this, which store these were from on the internet, let me know. I forgot. Last and certainly not least is the showpiece of all bally songs, I believe. This is a Max Ace called the Duke. It is a massive, along the lines of some of their out-the-side folders by Max Ace. Somebody asked me, well, can't you release the latch just by squeezing it? Not quite. This latch is on here tight, which means that it will, there we go. Why it hangs on so tight, I don't know, except it's the tension here at the pivot. And these, do they use Zen pins? No, they don't use Zen pins on this one. The lockup is on this tit, if you will, here at the end. So the handles come together, and they made up with that. And on the closed side, we do have, it's kind of resting on the backspacer there. They did a real interesting design job with this. We got titanium with the two kinds of inserts, a raised carbon fiber insert and a flush one, and a dark gray titanium here for the backspacer insert, titanium clip, and of course, a beautiful M390 Tanto blade. Check that out. Really, really nice. It's kind of thick here, so I doubt you would have a whole lot of luck sharpening that. I wouldn't ruin the knife by trying to put an edge on there, but you probably could if you were determined. There's your Max Ace branding there. There's the name of the knife, so fairly heavily branded, M390. Pocket clip. And actually closes a little easier in the open position. Now, I think that latch will eventually work in once the mating materials wear in just a little bit. But yeah, it is on a spring. And squeeze the handles, you can pop it off. But what you're supposed to be able to do with these, and I can with another Max Ace Bally song, is just squeeze the handles and the latch pops free. It ain't happening with this one. It's just too tight. Whether that's this particular copy of it or the entire line, I don't know. But it is beautifully smooth on bearings, although if you are a balisong flipper kind of a person, this is not going to be your cup of tea. It's just too heavy. The handles are too thick. As a open with one hand and use it kind of blade, it is perfect. It is heavy duty. Heavy duty Duke. Let's see if we can arrange these all for you for a parting shot. Squeeze them all in the frame. There you go. Round 2 of Elite Production Folders. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if you want to know when I post new videos. I'll be back with you soon. Take care.